When two creatives collaborate on a custom motorcycle build, it's key for the project to balance the styles of each respective artist, all while managing the fine line of creating a chaotic mess or an incredible masterpiece. The latter represents exactly what Billy Kuyken and Hans Bruechle were able to achieve when they collaborated on an amazingly unique build with the ever popular Triumph Thruxton. What initially started as a conversation to paint a motorcycle helmet turned into a one-off custom build that is amongst the most unique in the world. Both Billy and Hans are renowned for their work in their own fields. Billy has crafted some of the most incredible bikes through his Rogue Motorcycles workshop, while Hans, known as Handbrake, is a street artist that has commissioned pieces on just about everything you can think of. The pair's endless creativity really set the tone for this build, and after a few ideas were initially thrown around, it was decided a 2011 Triumph Thruxton would be the donor bike, largely thanks to its classic aesthetic and modern features. There are two things that will immediately catch your attention with this Thruxton: its skateboard-inspired seat and minimalistic rear end, and the incredibly unique paintwork, which I'll get into later. With a skateboard labeled to Hans's name, Billy says it was a must to incorporate one of his decks into the seat design. The idea required a monoshock conversion that was completely fabricated by Billy, where he discreetly tucked the rear subframe between the seat pan and skateboard. Finishing off the iconic rear is a set of skateboard trucks and a 2-in-1 indicator and tail light combination. Speaking on the rear end, this is what Billy had to say. Hans has his own skateboard label, so I told him we can't do a bike without a skateboard as the seat. We obviously had to cut half the frame and throw it in the bin for the monoshock conversion. I've done it in the past, but it was more about making the frame as invisible as possible to get that lighter look on the rear. It was basically to give the idea that you're actually sitting on a skateboard, but the frame is obviously sandwiched between the skateboard and the seat pan. With just 10 weeks to complete the build, the seat proved to be a timely process that consisted of back and forth communication with Polymotor Trimming, who is most familiar with the upholstery of exotic and luxury sports cars. The effort from both parties proved to be worthwhile, with the final seat design enhancing the incredible amount of work that went into the rear end of the motorcycle. It was always the plan to have a beefy aesthetic on the front end of this build, so dropping in a set of Suzuki GSX-R 1000 forks was an obvious choice for Rogue Motorcycles. The front end conversion meant modifications would need to be made to accommodate the new forks, including a Cognito Moto hub and custom CNC machine top triple clamp that hosts a Moto Gadget Motoscope mini speedometer, along with a couple of personal touches such as the Handbrake and Rogue logos. The 7-inch LED headlight has been purposely crafted for an ultra close fit, which is thanks to a pair of custom CNC machine brackets by Billy. The tank has also been dropped by an inch to assist with the lines of the bike. Clip-ons were a must for this build, and since there was no stone left unturned, it was fitted with a selection of Moto Gadget accessories that include bar and indicators, grips, and an M-Tri signal adapter. The engine has remained relatively unchanged internally, however it's been brought to life with custom Rogue headers and tulip mufflers, complemented by a sled of Molossi velocity stacks. Now, the color palette of this build ultimately came down to Hans's decision, who hand painted a number of components with his signature street art style. He made the call to continue with a black and white theme, which is an element of his regular style, while he wanted the frame to be a staple, so it was powder coated in a cherry red finish. Speaking on the paintwork, this is what Hans had to say. I actually painted the rims and tank in one weekend. I painted for 31 hours. I remember getting it all back and thinking, what am I going to do? I started on the rims because for me, the tank is the most important thing to get right. If you cook that, it's the first thing everyone sees, so I left that till last. I didn't have a plan, but that's kind of my style. The plan is no plan. I chose a lot of female faces. I like pinup girls with a lot of funky faces, you know, ones that are wearing aviation helmets, nose rings and stuff. That's my style. While the artwork and extensive rear end modifications may not be everyone's taste in motorcycles, there's no denying that this is one of the most well-crafted and unique cafe races the world has ever seen. What are your thoughts on this custom build by Hans and Billy? Let me know in the comments below. That is it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you're digging it, hit the like button. If you enjoyed it, please consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one.